Hey, right now we're looking at the CloudWorks dashboard, and I want to show you how easy it is to launch a Kubernetes cluster in Azure. Now, in previous videos, I already added cloud credentials for my Azure account, and I created an Azure project in CloudWorks. So if you haven't seen those videos yet, be sure to check them out. Now, with those already added, I can come over to the menu over here and select Projects, right? Here's the Azure project that I added in the last video. I'm going to click on this. And it's going to ask me, am I ready to add servers? Yeah, I am. So let's do that. Now, in order to set up a Kubernetes cluster in CloudWorks, I need at least 3 servers, a main, a worker, and a bastion. So I'm going to set those up right now. I'll start with the main, right? And it's going to have the Kubemaster role. When I set up my project, I selected which VM flavors I wanted this project to have access to, and I only selected one, so it's this one. If you want to change that, you would change that at the project level. I can set disk size, number of servers, and which zone I want to deploy this in. I'm going to deploy this in zone 1. If I wanted to taxonomize with some labels, I could add those here. I could add key value labels, and I can add as many as I want arbitrarily. I'm going to get rid of that real quick, and I'm going to select add. So now, great, my master was already added. I'll add another one, and this is going to be worker 1. Kubeworker role was already selected for me. Which flavor? Again, I only have one flavor, so I'm going to stick with that one. Keep the disk size the same, keep the number of servers the same. Which zone? I'm going to deploy this in zone 2. I'm going to leave my labels blank, but I could add labels if I wanted to. Click add. And now, great, my worker is all set up. So that's 2 out of 3. And the last server I need to add, right? See, here they are, main and worker. Last one I need to add is my bastion. So I'm going to add that one, call it bastion. The bastion role was already selected for me. Fantastic. And now flavor, again, I only have one. So I'm going to stick with that one. Disk size and which zone do we want to use? 3. Notice there's no number of servers here. That's because you only need one bastion server. I'm going to click add. And that's it. Now you'll notice this wiggly green button lit up. It really wants me to click it. This will deploy all these servers and configure my Azure account with everything it needs to have a working and secure Kubernetes cluster. So I'm going to click this. It's going to ask, are you sure? Yeah, I am. Let's deploy. Let's see this in action. So this takes a second, all right, because there's a lot happening behind the scenes. It's got to set up all the different routing tables, subnets, everything that goes into managing a Kubernetes cluster from the CloudWorks side. We're not using AKS. We're not adding additional overhead. All of the management is going to happen in CloudWorks. So these are all the raw resources that you would add manually on your own if you were trying to deploy a self-managed Kubernetes cluster. But because we have CloudWorks, it's not self-managed. It's using all of the fancy bells and whistles that come with this management platform. That's pretty awesome. So this will take a few minutes. But now once it's ready, I have all the information I would want about my Kubernetes cluster, right? We have the public IP, we have how much RAM, how many pods have been deployed, what CPU usage. And if I click into my Azure portal, I can click on resource groups and see the resource group that was created. In here, I'll see all of the different resources that were added by CloudWorks. So Bastion public IP, the different virtual machines, network security groups, everything that CloudWorks added for me on my behalf in my Azure account to create this Kubernetes cluster. And from here, I can also add a kube config, right? I'll come into here. I don't have any listed yet because I just created this cluster, but I'll click this add kube config button. And I can select which namespaces I want to give this kubeconfig access to. I can select which roles I want to allocate to this kubeconfig. I can do a read-only role, right? I can select different users that will have access to this kubeconfig, or I can say managers or any user that has access to this project. So I can do a lot of really cool configuration just from the CloudWorks dashboard. So now in future videos, we'll look at things like deploying applications, adding and managing users, or even adding vClusters into our Kubernetes cluster that we've already deployed. Thanks for watching.